Okay, so whenever it comes to Filian's hiatus, obviously, whenever there's a big kind of thing like this that has been going on for months, there of course is many theories about her whereabouts, right? Many people are wondering, where is she? What's she doing? Why is this taking so long? And this is something that has been a huge question on people's minds whenever it comes to Filian's hiatus in specific, right? And we've covered many different kind of theories and many different kind of explanations as to why. Some jokey, some not jokey. Obviously, some saying that she's pregnant, which obviously I feel like, you know, that's just a joke, right? I don't feel like that's an actual thing that's happening, but again, obviously weirder things have happened. But of course, you know, a lot of people have been pointing out things, for example, like this one, which we've covered in a previous video, talking about the fact that there is a trademark filing thing that apparently is pending. So lots of people are suggesting that potentially she could be on hiatus due to the fact of this kind of pending trademark, and she doesn't want to go live again for this new debut or whatever until the trademark gets completely done, which some people did rebuttal and say that, you know, she could still go live without the trademark. It really didn't matter. But some people also were saying, like, you know, saying, no, she doesn't legally need to wait for these. These need to be seen through. Copyright filings are just paperwork filings, but already existing copyright laws she's already protected under. Trademark laws are something slightly different, more so she can claim brand names and such, which obviously some people have been kind of, you know, suggesting that maybe she just wants to wait through it all anyways, despite it being like legal and whatever, for her to, you know, continue on, even if, you know, it's not done yet. Which again, you know, that is one of the theories that I've seen going around. But as I said, there are so many more, including obviously one that I saw recently, which came up on the Reddit, where some person seems to think that, obviously saying, I once made a comment on why Filian is airing all the stuff in Japan recently, because if you don't know, on her account, The Wall here, this one, which is supposed to be her like kind of, you know, a hiatus account, or whatever you like, her ARG account, or whatever you want to call it, being run by someone. But essentially, yeah, they did The Wall. It went up on Shibuya Crossing, and lots of people were very confused as to why this went up onto Shibuya Crossing, right? Because it's Japan. Filian has no connection with Japan, really, apart from like the kind of, I guess, ancestral roots of VTubing itself. You know, but Filian herself obviously does not live in Japan, or has not lived in, you know, she's not Japanese herself or anything like that. So people were confused as to why she was suddenly catering to this audience, because obviously a lot of her audience currently is English speaking, right? They're not Japanese. So why are we putting adverts up in Shibuya? Now, obviously a lot of people have been saying that, you know, it's because it's popular. It's the popular thing to do. Shibuya Crossing is a very famous place at the moment, and getting a billboard up there might be pretty cool, regardless of how like kind of marketing effective it is, because of course, if anybody thought this was going to have some kind of marketing effect on, you know, the Japanese people, it will not, right? You know, people don't care. But again, you know, maybe it'll draw a couple of views, I guess. But obviously, some people believe in this comment here saying, The Wall and Shibuya, the commercial where she talks, the comment was short and simple. She's doing it all because she's moving there, and it takes forever to actually get into Japan, like as a resident. So some people are suggesting that Filian might be moving to Japan. Now, of course, there is no evidence behind this. There's no like kind of documents saying that she's moving or anything like that, right? So again, this is all obviously up in this person's head, but it is a possibility, right? As I said, with a lot of these theories, there is a possibility with a lot of them, and many of them could end up being true, right? And I would say the Japan moving one there would make a little bit of sense with all of the advertisement that she's been doing over there, and also the breaks that have been going on, you know, with the 6 months break. As we know, moving to Japan isn't exactly the easiest of tasks, right? It's not like you can kind of move in a day and, you know, get ready up and back to streaming straight away, right? You need to kind of get settled in, and you need to sort stuff out, lots of paperwork, lots of moving stuff, maybe things go wrong. Again, it really is a big mess. And if you guys have ever watched like Trash Taste and whatever, they talk about it quite a bit, the struggles of moving and the struggles of just living in Japan, because it can be quite difficult to kind of you know, do stuff, right? Like paperwork wise, not necessarily like going around the country and whatever, but more so like paperwork and having to fill out like, you know, different licenses and different agreements and whatever. Apparently it's very, very difficult, right? So lots of people, yeah, are kind of upvoting this as well. We've got 24 upvotes. But again, people believe that essentially, maybe that is why we have been waiting 6 months, is because she's trying to do all of this kind of stuff in terms of the Japan, kind of documentation process, which could, as I said, all of these theories I think are valid, and one of them could end up being true. But it really is just which one, right? Is it due to the trademarks, as I said earlier? Is it due to the fact that, she's moving to Japan? Is it that joke? Maybe that joke becomes true about her being pregnant and she comes back and she's got a kid, right? No, I'm still joking. But again, there is a possibility, right? There is always a possibility with every single theory that everybody puts out about this. Some people think that maybe her model still isn't done yet. I don't really believe that one so much because, of course, 6 months is a long time, especially if you were planning to have your model done, pretty soon after. I feel like, an artist should probably rush that if they've been taking this, been taking this long to do it, right? 6 months is a pretty crazy amount of time if they're still waiting on a model. Some people just believe that maybe, she's just taking a break and just kind of enjoying her time off, right? Some people believe that, she's trying to kind of create this big spectacle, which just isn't really working at the moment with this whole ARG thing, right? And it's kind of taking longer and longer because, people aren't responding to it maybe as well as people want to, which could also be the case, right? There are so many different ways for people to kind of talk about this. And I just kind of wanted to make this video as a kind of discussion about the theories that go around and just saying, like, some of them could end up being true, right? Some of them could end up being one of the factors as to what has kept Filian away for so long. But also at the same time, you just got to remember that there are many theories out there. So, obviously, if you come across any of these posts, you can take it into account and be like, that's pretty interesting. I could see that. But don't take it as gospel, right? It doesn't mean that she's necessarily moving to Japan. She might not, right? She might not even be anywhere near thinking about Japan. And it might have just been a cool thing that she wanted to do, to have her kind of billboard up in Shibuya Crossing, right? It's a cool bucket list thing to do, as I said. Lots of people seem to be very, strong about the fact of, hey, stuff like this, it needs to be for a purpose. We need it to be, good for marketing, or we need it to, get her a new audience of, Japanese viewers or whatever. That doesn't necessarily have to be the case sometimes. Sometimes it just has to be like, oh, we have the opportunity to get a billboard full of your community up on Shibuya Crossing, one of the most famous crossings in all of the world. Do you want to do it? It's not really going to help you advertisement-wise, but it's still a cool thing to do. Do you want to do it? Of course, people are going to say yes. And of course, Filian is going to say yes, right? So, yeah, I think it's just more so one of those cool things that you can say that, hey, I've done this, rather than like a genuine attempt at advertisement, which I think a lot of people miss, and a lot of people misconstrued. But you never know, right? There could be a deeper meaning, as I said, behind this being the place that they've decided to do this in Japan, because, again, there could be, she could be moving there, you never know, but it would make a lot of sense. But as I said, it's more so a waiting game to see what the true reason is, right? And that's essentially all there is, whenever it comes to this absence and, what's been going on recently. So we'll have to see what happens. As I said, I'll keep you guys up to date with any updates that come out, if there is any updates. As I said, people are losing a little bit of hope and are a little bit frustrated at the moment, especially with the kind of lack of responses. You can see, especially with this kind of reveal here, 71,000 views to 800 likes. That's not very good, right? You can definitely see that people are frustrated, and people are unhappy with this post because of that kind of ratio, right? Anything positively kind of received, that would have at least over maybe 2,000 likes minimum, as like a good ratio. But is that 800 likes, 71,000 views? That really shows you how many people actually kind of cared about this, and how many people are pretty frustrated by this. So that is something also to kind of, latch onto there, right? Obviously, so many people as well were commenting saying, don't think a single Japanese person on the ground was watching. I like Filian, but who is this for, right? So yeah, it's mainly those kind of people that are confused at what this was for, and that just kind of want Filian to be back and don't want to kind of go through these theatrics anymore, and just want to back to streaming, right? But we'll have to see, maybe there'll be more stuff in the future. Maybe there'll be more ARG stuff, which again, obviously that's going to annoy a lot of people if that happens, but we'll have to see, right? It's just a waiting game now. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameStop, use my code Kaza, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.